Hello and welcome to Bud's RPG Review, where I give my thoughts on role-playing games, card games and board games. To celebrate my channel passing the 1500 subscriber mark, I've decided to pull one out from my collection that you may not have seen. 1984's MV1 Midnight on Dagger Alley for AD&D 1st edition by TSR. Okay, first a bit of history. Midnight on Dagger Alley is an 8-page softback scenario that was originally designed to teach players the then new AD&D system. It was given the prefix MV1 due to it requiring this, the Magic Viewer, which is required in order to be able to read a fair bit of the contents, and the whole thing has a predicted playtime of around 3 to 4 hours. This wasn't TSR's only foray into the Magic Viewer world. It was followed by the basic D&D scenario CM5, Mystery of the Snow Pearls, which also used it. Right, to the cover. Here we have a decent Jeff Easley piece that is fairly typical of his work during this time. Okay, to the inside. There'll be spoilers from this point on, so stop watching now if you intend to play this. Opening the scenario, we are greeted with a fold-out cover that contains the module rules, a huge double-sided map, and the aforementioned Magic Viewer. Okay, let's look at the rules first. It advises that the only thing required are a set of dice, a pencil, an eraser and a sheet of paper. We discover that the scenario is set in the dark alleys of the city of Goldstar. You are instructed to pick one of 3 pre-roll characters, a monk, an assassin and a thief. It is described as a solo adventure and has been done in some ways like a choose-your-own-adventure book. We discovered that there are 4 levels, as illustrated by the 4 maps on the map sheet: D for dungeon level, S for street level, U for upper level, and R for rooftop level. As you move through the map, you will find entry numbers that you should read in this book with the Magic Viewer to describe what you encounter. The scenario advises you to keep meticulous records of what you find and lose, stating that should you leave something behind, you should write it into the text of the book for other players to find. Okay, so at this point let's move on to the Magic Viewer. It's essentially a piece of red cellophane encased in a card surround that, when placed over the entries on the map, booklet and inside cover, filters out the red dots displaying writing that you can read. This is supposed to represent the moonless, foggy conditions of Goldstar. When reading a map, you are advised to only move it up the wall lines. The map represents levels that are 10 feet above each other and are layered in a grid with A to V without the letters I and O on one side and numbers 1 to 28 on the other. Secret doors are marked with an S. When you find the monster, you move to the combat checklist on the inside cover and follow the steps detailed there. It gives rules on initiative and avoiding monsters and even how to parlay with them. It then moves on to movement. All movement is in a straight line, never diagonal, and is used for avoiding engagement, climbing and leaping, which are detailed here. It does stress that you can only parlay with monsters if you speak the same language. It then moves on to using magic in combat, describing just magic items, and deals with saving throws and then shifts to striking with weapons, giving us a breakdown of bonuses and reaching 0 hit points for both the player and the monster, and even details poisonous attacks. It then moves on to combat with some special monsters, detailing were-rats, rats, the Booker, a winged fairy creature, the Snyad, a gremlin-esque monster from the Fiend Folio, and perhaps strangely the Kenku. It covers fighting monsters in the dark and then moves on to wandering monsters. Throughout the scenario, you will occasionally be asked to check for a wandering monster, and a roll of a 1 and a d6 makes one appear. The type of monster is dependent on the location in the city that you're currently in. It gives rules for healing and resting, which is fairly slow paced, and then moves on to a selection of magic items that are in the scenario, such as potions of healing and levitation, and also things like Wand of Paralysation and a Staff of Striking. It also covers defeated characters. If you're killed, you're supposed to make a list of what was left in the location and mark it next to the reference, meaning that a playthrough with another character would entail finding your riches. After this, we have a list of entries for the grid reference points, as well as rules specific to those levels, and strangely a table of gambling results slap bang in the middle. Moving on to the inside cover, we have the combat checklist, a section of traps and treasure, which are all Magic Viewer readable, as well as a list of wandering monsters that are likewise only readable in this manner. There are the required basic tables and a map key. Midnight on Dagger Alley is a novel idea that I feel doesn't really do what it intends to. The idea is to teach you the then new AD&D rules. However, it states on the back that the AD&D Player's Handbook is required for play, so I suspect you would have an easier time just reading the rules and working them out yourself. Also, it only teaches you the 3 roguelike classes in Thief, Assassin and Monk, and then doesn't even do that in what you could describe as an effective way. With regard to the scenario itself, it's okay for a small amount of time, but the blurry writing through the magic reader starts to grate after a while, as sadly it doesn't quite work as well as TSR intended it to. Additionally, there's only an illusion of choice here. It's more like one of the fighting fantasy books than any AD&D game that I've ever played in. The fact that the Magic Viewer only lasted for 2 scenarios tells you how popular it was. The concept behind a player being able to buy this and then without a GM do a simulation of AD&D is commendable, and the whole thing is very of its time. A statement that I have difficulty quantifying in any meaningful sense. You just have to hold it and take it in to really understand what I mean. Thankfully, this idea appears to be one that ultimately didn't prove to be popular and should probably remain in the annals of gaming history as not necessarily a failed experiment, but one that perhaps didn't produce the expected results. I give Midnight and Dagger Alley a 4 out of 10. If you enjoyed this review, please make sure to hit the thumbs up, subscribe to my channel and check out my other reviews. Also, if you're interested in buying this product, I've put some links below. Lastly, if you like what I produce here, then maybe think about supporting me on Patreon. Bud out.